Welcome to the Tim and Gugabe podcast. This is your host, Tim Gugabe. How you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. I saved up my commissary credits and got a decent microphone. So yeah, good times.
Yeah,
How are we, Tim?
this is shocking. I'm not used to you having a decent microphone. I can hear you clear and well, so that's good. But I'm good. We didn't do last week, which I'm kind of glad we didn't because the card was stupid. Like injuries, kind of weird shit happening on the last one. But we won't always recap, but because that Makachev card was awesome. It's just a good card. Maybe we can talk about that real quick. Some of the main fights. Only bet I had was Makachev. Fight went like kind of how I expected, but maybe not like that clean for Islam. But I kind of expected him to win everywhere. What did you think of the fight?
Yeah, good show for Makachev. I had about a unit of him. Again, Oliveira is tricky because it's just his style has a certain flaw to it, in my opinion. Like, it's also got the ceiling, but like Oliveira can just kill anybody at any time. Like, yeah. Obviously, when he loses, he looks awful, like he always has. But like, it's hard to make Oliveira more than like plus 300 or something against another lightweight because he's so fucking dangerous.
Yeah, in my breakdowns, I pretty much said I would not be playing -1. I got Makachev in between -160 to 80, and I think that's kind of where he closed at. I pretty much said I wouldn't be playing this line against Oliveira on anyone else, but I just feel like Islam's so defensively sound and he's dangerous enough to where he can get the finishes as well. Where I kind of just felt like he was the one guy I would play at that line. Like anyone else, I wouldn't because I respect Oliveira. I just felt it was a tough matchup for him.
Yeah. I'm trying to think what else. I had some Dillashaw, which was annoying.
Yeah, I don't really know what to think of that fight. I still probably would just like favor the grappler, even if they're both healthy. So I'd probably go like Sterling to win. But I still, it's hard to take anything of that. I mean, he was clearly done.
I mean, he was managing to scramble pretty well with one arm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like he still lasted that. Yeah, it took Sterling 8 minutes to finish him when he got injured, 20 seconds in.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, how much you take away from that, but like Dillashaw's scrambling was giving Aljo actual issues.
Yeah. I mean, it's just I kind of stopped watching once he got hurt, so I wasn't like analytically watching, but because I was at a place watching it, and I was kind of just whatever, and then kind of started thinking about like Makachev. But O'Malley Yan. So I've never seen such pushback on a decision. I don't know. I haven't even talked to you about what you thought. I thought it was kind of just a really close fight. Like I scored it for Yan in the moment. And then once I rewatched, I thought it was even closer. But I still think like giving it to Jan's probably the right call. But I thought round 2 was clear Yan. I thought round 3 was pretty clear O'Malley. But I do think Jan's second round was cleaner. But it's just if you bust someone open with a fucking knee and you double them up in strikes in round 3, I don't care if you're taken down and controlled for a little bit. I'm going to give you that round. And then round 1 was just really – it was really tight round 1, So I just like O'Malley outlanded him by 4 strikes in round 1, but he didn't land anything too huge, and Yan got a little bit of control, so I kind of leaned Yan. But I thought it was a close fight. What did you think?
Just classic sort of clean round versus 250-50s situation.
That's fair. I think that's a good way to put it. Yeah, Yan had the cleanest round, but you can feasibly give it to O'Malley because there's 2 close rounds,
Yeah, like the 10-point must system is always going to produce these outcomes, particularly when it's a big pay-per-view and you get a bunch of people watching who hate O'Malley because what he looks like and don't watch fighting that often, and they'll get very mad about this kind of result when it's just like mathematically, hypothetically, assuming that it was 100% Yan round 2, 50-50 both round 1 and 3. Again, people can have different opinions. I'm just saying for the sake of it. Yeah, there is a 25% chance it's going to go O'Malley's way.
100%. Yeah. That's the best way to put it. And I would say I wouldn't give it exactly 50-50 in round. Round one was round one was probably like 55-45 Jan, I'd say, and then I think round three was like 65-35 O'Malley. So like I get what you're saying, but
I chucked, I think, like $50 on Malley at plus 1,500 going into the decision because I was just like, this is like win margin of error, but like I would have said 80% Jan going into the decision.
Yeah, I thought Jan was gonna get it in the moment, but I really said, like, with people I was watching it with, I was like, that was closer than you guys are like than people are kind of thinking here, you know. But I will say, just like I do think Jan was probably the right call though. Like, but I still think it was close enough to where
I think Malley plus 300 pre-fight was definitely the side.
Oh no, I'm talking about the decision.
Oh yeah.
No. I think the side was. I mean, I don't want to make people mad. I think it's clearly O'Malley because Jan optimized his path to victory. He went for like double-digit takedown attempts, and like, imagine if he didn't do that. O'Malley doubled him up at distance, and dude, on the feet, Jan's only real success was that big right hand when O'Malley kind of went
hurt him. Yeah,
like. O'Malley kind of got wrecked when O'Malley was just striking intelligently. I thought he was clearly better with the height and everything, and he was just better.
Yeah, because it wasn't because what Jan hit him on the counter because Malley hurt Jan. Then
exactly,
and
then like other than that, Jan didn't really land shit on the feet, and I'm pulling up, and I know people are like, oh, metrics are stupid, but the thing is, like, O'Malley was generally, other than that big shot, was landing the harder shots, don't you think? Other than that, like, big one. But that was in round two, which is a round Jan won, you know?
Yeah. I just had the ends inside the distance at like fucking plus 180, so I was annoyed.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. I was like, oh, this is going to go to a war.
Yeah, multiple, like,
massive knockdowns and wobbles and bad spots, but it's all there.
That's always so annoying. I know like fight metrics not end all be all, but it's better than like idiots yelling on Twitter, you know?
Yeah.
So like distance, O'Malley outlanded him 80-47. You know, it's like other than that big shot and head strikes were 63-24, and I think we talked about that, you know, like O'Malley's really hard to hit to the head. I think kickers are the people who are going to give him more issues, but Jan doesn't really do that. But yeah, like O'Malley was better on the feet in my opinion, but that one big shot, he kind of just got a little reckless, I would say. But Jan still, like, I still respect him on the feet, but I think O'Malley was aside because don't you think if Jan just didn't wrestle, O'Malley wins that fight more often than not?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, just even with the wrestling. It's like, yeah, O'Malley was, I think Jan minus 150 is probably about right in the rerun.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Because he does have that just floor of being able to land takedowns, so he's always going to make the fight interesting. And he's also just got that, like, he's got killer power, you know, Jan. Yeah. He definitely hits fucking hard. But I like the way I saw it is I think O'Malley is kind of turned out better than, like, maybe we thought he would against the high, like, you know, and then I thought Jan was kind of just Jan, right? Like, Jan looked like himself.
I mean, Jan's kind of tricky because, like, obviously he's gigantically hyped, but
he's still really good.
I mean, he is, but, like, you know, people have always acted like he's, like, number one pound for pound kind of thing, but you look at his actual record, there's, like, a bunch of on the way up, he had a bunch of very old people, and Jimmy Rivera, where Rivera probably seemed to do better than him. And kind of got unlucky with knockdowns.
Like 2 non-knockdowns in the last 10 seconds away from winning clean.
Yeah. The Aljo fights was like, it was competitive, then Aljo kind of melted, particularly the first time.
Yeah.
Sandhagen, which even Sandhagen, like that was within like a margin of Jan getting robbed, in my opinion. Like, again, I understand, I got shit on for this at the time, but like,
it would have been a bad
took
decision.
1 clear.
Yeah.
2 was 50-50, 5 was 50-50.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, obviously 2 clear rounds should sum it, but, like, we've seen people lose that decision a bunch of times.
Yeah.
Like, Sarukian versus Gamrot, Holm versus Vieira. Again, it does happen. It's like,
yeah,
just how the scoring system works.
I hate talking bad on him because he has such, like, a loyal fan base who always talk shit to me, but I still think he's really good. I just think I just think O'Malley's really O'Malley's fucking good, and stylistically, he's a tough matchup for Jan because he can actually strike with him, and he's fucking like 8 feet taller, you know.
Yeah, and again, Jan's kind of in an unlucky spot in his career because he's 1-3 in his last 4, and he's probably -200, -150 in every one of those matchups.
Yeah. He's definitely gotten fucked as far as like bad luck goes. I'm not.
Yeah.
I do think that like people who think the Sterling decision, the second fight, who think that was a robbery, are fucking idiots. Like
What?
Well, I mean,
how?
I think reasonable people think that was just like a 50-50 fight, and then I think his crowd thinks it was like a robbery, you know, because they're like mad. And I think it more stems from the first fight, but I don't know. I'm done talking about this.
Well, Aljo too. It was a very I think that Aljo got very fortunate to do what he did.
But the decision was was very reasonable. Yeah.
If anything, I thought he should have won by more because I thought I had round 2 as a 10-8.
Agreed. Because I did think round 2 was a 10-8.
4 minutes 50 of control and near finish.
Yeah.
What more do you need to fucking do?
Yeah. Yeah, but I feel like but I still think Jan, like I would pretty much favor him over anyone at that weight class in like a 5-rounder, you know. But he's gotten a little unlucky, but I also think like he shouldn't be -400 against O'Malley either, you know. But okay, let's get into the main card for Rodriguez Lemos. I actually think this main card is pretty decent. You want to start with the main event? That's what we've been doing.
Yeah, sure.
I haven't like deep research yet, but just like surface level, I feel like the line is probably fine. Like I quite respect Marina in 5 rounds. I still think I doubt Lemos knocks her out. Like I know she's dangerous, but Rodriguez seems very, very tough. And the fact that I don't think she'll just get meme submitted either, just because she survived Dern for so long. On the feet, I think it will be competitive, and I think Lemos can maybe win a round or so. But don't you think Marina over 5 rounds, like you trust her cardio and just kind of yada 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 and more?
Yeah, I think Lemos sucks. Like she's a freak athlete for a woman, but she's very bad. Marina's not going to top control her, so I'm not going to make her a massive favorite. I'd probably have her as by -300-ish. I think unless Lemos knocks her out or gets a sort of sub, it's just like, I don't know, Lemos is ridiculous. Because like her last 2 wins have both been absurd bad beats for the people against her. Like Waterson probably looked like -200 in that fight.
Yeah, I need to rewatch that.
Well, she just got takedown the first round, then goes for takedown the second round, and Lemos jumps a guillotine.
Yeah.
She was controlling her pretty effortlessly.
She was outlanding her at distance too.
Yeah, it was like she was like +300, and she was winning the striking and winning the control against guillotines.
Yeah.
Like I only had the unit on, but like honestly, watching that, I was like, that's probably the worst speed of the year.
Yeah, I need to
like
that.
Waterson was +300 and probably should have been -200. Like again, like I only had a unit on. I'm not acting like I had bankroll on, but like Waterson was, that was absurd.
Yeah.
Andrade's loss was stupid.
Yeah, like I respect Lemos like power early, and I do think she can compete early, but I just over 5 rounds, Marina's got freak cardio. Like she kind of started taking over. Like Yan Xiaonan, that was a really close fight, but in 5 rounds, it was pretty clear like Marina would have just taken over. You know?
100%.
She started taking over in round 3 pretty easily. Like she got outlanded 21-16 and 11-9 in the first 2 rounds of distance, and then she outlanded Yan 34-16. Like Marina's cardio is pretty nuts, and I think a live spot for Marina makes sense. But I could see Lemos like winning the first round or just like hurting her, and then I think Marina will probably take over.
Yeah, that's probably the ideal situation. If Lemos gets a big wobble or something in round 1, Marina comes into evens, and I'm just happy to go hard Marina. Like I think Marina. I struggle to see how Lemos wins this without finishing inside.
Yeah, we both always respected Marina too. Like she's actually pretty good, you know.
Like she's got holes, but like I just don't think Lemos is gonna.
Yeah.
Is Lemos gonna control grappler?
No. She could land a takedown here and there, but I like over the course of 25 minutes, I don't like maybe she could do it to win an early round, but 25 minutes, I just don't think so. And Marina can like work up and stuff, except against the GOAT, Carlos Esparza. All right, so co-main event, Magny Rodriguez. I mean, I'm pretty torn. I picked Magny simply because it's a close fight though. Like the line seems pretty reasonable. I picked him just because I feel like he's more likely to mix in takedowns and like clinch and cardio. Like, so in a close, because I kind of expect the striking to be really close, you know? Like I forget, I kind of just think people forget how good Magny actually is if he's not getting like out grappled by just way better grapplers. Like he kind of dominated Jeff Neal, and Neal's tough. And I just feel like Magny's more likely to like mix in takedowns and stuff, especially later in the fight. And that's kind of why I picked him, because I feel like the striking, don't you think it will just be close?
Yeah, like I think Rodriguez 60% striking, but Magny has takedown upside and probably round 3 upside. So
that's kind of what I was leaning, which makes it for a close fight. Like, so the line seems pretty. Like, I'm not betting this fight.
Max Griffin fight was a bit ugly for Magny, but even then, like round 3, he took over very hard.
Which he kind of always does. I do agree. He kind of looked a little shitty early in that fight, but Max is tough to deal with early. You know,
no, he's 35. He's not that old.
Yeah. It's like on the feet, it seems pretty fucking close. Like Magny doesn't really get outlanded at distance much. Rodriguez is tough too. He's going to keep a high pace. I just don't. It's probably going to go to the cards. You'd agree? I'm sure it's favored to go to the cards, or are those out yet?
No over-unders yet. I'd imagine like minus 200.
I'm going to guess it's probably, like it's definitely going to be favored to go to the cards, which will probably be close and kind of whatever, you know?
Yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah.
I think Magny live bet is probably the bet. I'll probably wait 5 minutes.
100%. Like I think Magny, because he's probably going to lose early, you know, and then if someone starts pulling away, it will be Magny, you know. Rodriguez has good cardio too, though, so maybe Magny's like cardio upside isn't there as much, because like Griffin kind of gasses in fights in general, you know, a little more than like Rodriguez. But I don't know. I think it's going to be a pretty competitive fight, and I agree. Magny live is probably the optimal approach.
Yeah.
God, I'll just let you take this. I might not even comment on this fight. I do not know why it's on the main card. And I just tweeted out that I thought these guys have fought like 15 times already. Josh Parisian and Chase Sherman. Have they fought? Like, actually, I haven't even looked.
I don't believe so.
No, I don't know if they actually have, but I just feel like they probably, it just seems like they would have. No, I don't think they've ever fought.
All right, I understand you are very jealous you're not invited to the big white guy conference, and we sit around doing Americanas on each other. I think Chase should kind of fuck him up. I think Sherman's grappling hold is a little bit overstated. Like, Collier's a pretty good grappler and hurt him badly first. And, like, Alex Romanov, not great, but, getting owned by Alex Romanov doesn't concern me too much. Like, people are acting like Josh Parisian is like a good grappler when it's more just like Baldo sucks. Hilariously. Like, Don'Tale Mays made Josh Parisian look like a white belt. Like Chase Sherman looked pretty solid against Vandura last time. Heavyweight action.
Yeah, I just don't trust either of these guys. Like, I guess
I agree.
Could maybe land takedowns or something, but other than that, I feel like if he doesn't get that going, I'd probably favor Sherman. But I don't know. I don't give a fuck. It's really hard for me to care about this. Did you bet anything?
Nah. Again, I'd lean Sherman at 50-50, but I don't pull the trigger.
Okay.
Price is starting to go.
Fair enough. What's the next one? Tagir Ulanbekov and Nate Maness. I like Ulanbekov here. I think he is a flawed fighter, and in his first few fights, I do think like it's concerning that he's landing takedowns. He's a good wrestler and everything, but I do agree it's concerning he's not doing much on the mat, and so that's made some of his fights close. But there's a couple things why I like Ulanbekov here. He's basically been like -300 or 400 in his first 3 fights, and this is his easiest opponent by far, I think, especially stylistically out of those guys. And he's -170, which is just bizarre. And a thing I like here is he still lands takedowns in all his fights, and Manus's get-ups are awful. And like Nascimento will actually go for submission attempts and like sweep you and try to reverse you. Manus like has a decent first layer takedown defense, but once he's actually grounded, it's like Edson Barboza. He doesn't know how to get up, and it's like, one takedown against Nascimento for Ulanbekov isn't like a guaranteed round because Nascimento can do shit on the mat. Manus can't. Like one takedown for Ulanbekov is probably the round. And also, I know he's not known as a great striker, but I know Manus has some KO upside, but even on the feet, I think Ulanbekov is actually the better round-winning striker. And which like you might look at this fight and think it's like striker versus grappler, and it's binary. But Manus's metrics are awful on the feet, and he's kind of just won a couple fights by like getting dominated on the feet and on the mat, and then just like landing some stupid knee, or like some big shot. And I just feel like Manus is pretty much KO or bust here. I feel like he's too big moment dependent. He could maybe win a striking fight over the course of 15 minutes if he keeps it upright, but even then, I don't even know if I favor him on the feet. And like Ulanbekov has dominant like control upside on the mat. And I think he should be a bigger favorite. What do you think?
Actually agreed. I was quite big on Tim Elliott against Ulanbekov, and Ulanbekov actually positively surprised me there.
Yeah.
Like, in hindsight, I think Elliott plus 200 was about right. Like, Elliott pulled it off because he's a god.
Yeah.
But, I was honestly, like, positively surprised by how solid Ulanbekov looked in that. And I think, I kind of had him winning the decision. Nate Manus, you can make a very good argument that he should probably have been the underdog in every single one of his UFC bouts up to this point. And
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Gravely literally knocked him out.
SC for all, so I'm going to throw it up there. One comment I'll give him up. I already bet Rodriguez at plus 100. I think his output, aggression, ability to avoid the TD and getting held up against the. Yeah, I mean, I could see it. Like, yeah. He could win the fight. I just think it's close. I think if you get plus money or something on either guy, fine, But it's a fight. Like I could see an argument for either guy.
Because like Manus has finished round 1 being TKO'd, I think, in all 3 of his UFC wins.
Manus, yeah,
yes.
I know.
Like Munoz essentially had him TKO'd and round ends.
Yeah.
I can't remember this. I remember Sanders had a lot of success, then fucking pulled a Luke Sanders. And Tony Gravely knocked him out and just got fucked because like 459 of round 1.
I went into this I went into tape kind of thinking I kind of like Ulanbekov, but I don't think I'd bet it. And then I was like, oh, probably grappling upside. And then I kind of realized I just feel like he'll probably land a couple takedowns, which will give him some, a couple clear rounds. And then I was just looking at the feet, and I just assumed Manus might be better there. And then I was like looking at his metrics, and I watched all his fights. He was like getting his ass beat, like you said, And Ulanbekov, it's not like he gets finished. He seems like a tough dude who can always safety net, go for takedowns, and I feel like he should be a bigger favorite.
And like Manus's wins have all been based on the other guy cardio dying, and like Ulanbekov's a bit underwhelming, but he doesn't cardio death.
No, not at all.
Gravely and Munoz and Sanders are all notorious fucking collapses.
For sure. And Ulanbekov seems tough. I feel like if he gets in trouble, he'll try to wrestle to safety. And I just feel like I'd be pretty surprised if he lost if he didn't get KO'd,
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Like 2 takedowns should pretty much be fine. There's I don't usually get into into minus 200 Russians, but I feel like the market's being very, very mad about the Tim Elliott loss. You just see this happen sometimes.
Yeah.
where like it's just like this reaction of like my toy has displeased me. Fuck it.
Yeah.
But no. I'm assuming that's why.
Yeah. I just feel like, I don't know. I was just, if you look at he's been like, Ulan Bekov's been like minus 400 in these fights. And I know, like, in hindsight, maybe he shouldn't have been, but I don't know. It just seems like a pretty, like, it's just bizarre that he's less of a favorite here.
Yeah, like he's probably been a fair minus 200 in all three of his UFC bouts. But I'd take Bruno Silva and El Nascimento to fuck Magnus.
And they can just defend themselves as grapplers more, like on the mat, you know? And like Manus doesn't know how to work up if he's taken down. Okay, this is a good one here. Marco Madsen, Grant Dawson. Give me your thoughts.
Dawson, again, like Dawson, kind of his performance against what was the last one?
Gordon.
Gordon, kind of revived him a bit for me. That Rick Glenn thing annoyed me a bit, but he's a little bit underwhelming, but he knows how to win fights.
Yeah, like, I mean, if you're a good wrestler and you can shoot 15 takedowns and not get too tired, I mean, you're gonna win fights.
And he takes it back, and it's pretty solid. And Mark Madsen's just kind of Mark Madsen. I think the cardio dynamic kind of justifies the price. Like, I think Dawson wins round 3 far more often than not. Apart from that one time he gassed against Glenn.
That's a bizarre one because like I was rewatching his fights with like Arosa and Gordon and then Glenn, and it's so weird because he never seems like he would have gassed, and he just died in that fight.
Yeah,
it was bizarre. What do you? Yeah, because I don't know. I like research this one heavily, and I'm just gonna ask. But what do you think? How do you think it's gonna play out? Like, because on the feet, I think it would be kind of ugly. You know, like in general.
Neither guy has defense.
I feel like Dawson's clearly like a better submission grappler. Like I'm not talking about the wrestling yet. Just like more likely to get the back and like threaten with like more. You know, like if Dawson subbed him or got him in a dominant position, I wouldn't be shocked. Where if Madsen did, I'd be pretty surprised. But do you think like either guy's going to dominate with wrestling here? Like, I kind of feel like Madsen probably won't, just because that Greco base, like, even if you look at the Guida fight, it's not like takedowns are all that good against, like, American wrestlers who actually know how to defend shit. And
he's not particularly sticky either.
What's up?
He's not particularly sticky either when he gets people down.
Yeah, he's just kind of limited. Like, Dawson just seems like a more well-rounded grappler, don't you think? With the cardio upside as well. So that's why I kind of picked him to win. But it is interesting. I do feel like both of their defensive wrestling is like semi-untested because they're always the ones shooting takedowns first, you know?
I think Dawson like that's probably how I'd approach it. Like, I think Madsen, his best work's probably going to come in round 1, regardless.
Yeah,
you probably get 5 minutes of info. I can't really say. I don't think Dawson's going to be like shooting out, even if he does win round 1. And like, there's a chance that Madsen hits a takedown or 2, and suddenly it's evens going into round 2, and that's like I'm happy. I'd rather play that because I feel like the Dawson moneyline price is pricing in that cardio edge.
Yeah, agreed.
So,
yeah,
like,
no, that's a good way to put it. So it's like, why take that? Like, why take the premium of that price early whenever it might come back to earth a little bit after a round?
Yeah, because it's like same as Magny. It's like if Magny wins round 1 against Rodriguez, I'm gonna be like, all right, fair enough, he's got the fight.
Yeah.
If he doesn't win round 1, it's like, all right, now I've got plus 200, and I'm really taking the same bet.
Pretty much.
And like, all right, maybe Magny knocks him out in round 1, but is that really likely?
No.
Same for Dawson. Like I'd be surprised if Dawson got a quick sub or anything like that.
Yeah. No, I feel you. I mean, we flew through that main card because we didn't really have much to say about Parisian and Sherman, but anything on the prelims catching your eye that you want to talk about? I've researched some of them, but not all of them, but I'm still down to talk about anything.
The Arnavis fray will be funny.
That is the real... Yeah, I have researched that. It's really weird because usually Viana fights are like, is she going to get an armbar or is she going to get controlled for 15 minutes? But Frey, sometimes will just strike, and you know what I mean. Like because it's like Frey might. Who was it against where she went for takedowns? It was against DePaula. It's like if she does that, she has dominant control upside, but she still might get fucking armbarred. So it's like that's hilarious. But then she might just decide to strike, where I feel like it's a split decision, on the feet.
I think Viana's not bad. I think Viana's a better striker. I think Viana has good upside as a fighter. She's just an idiot.
And she could just get controlled and taken down,
Yeah, but like if Viana just would get up instead of going for arm bars, I think Viana's actually not a bad fighter. She has a bunch of cool tools. She's just an idiot.
I just don't know if she's capable of getting up either, though. Like she can hold guard, and you're not going to do much to her on the mat. But I don't know if she can actually get up.
Yeah, that's fair.
On the feet, it was funny. I thought I was going to favor Frey, but then I kind of watched her fight with Demopoulos, and even though I kind of thought she won that fight, Viana is all right on the feet. Like she's a little better on the feet than I had remembered. I still feel like it's probably split decision territory on the feet, but I would slightly favor Viana, which I didn't think I would on tape. But like, I mean, it's like pretty stupid on the feet, and then. Yeah, on the mat, I think Frey has the control upside, but Viana's the better submission grappler, clearly. It's a tricky one. It's gonna be funny.
Yeah, pretty much. What else is on? Most of the shocking. I felt there's a bunch of
Batista Lopez is kind of interesting because Lopez literally hasn't fought for 3.5 years because of injuries. But
Lopez sucks. he has like one of those he's like
he's like a kick heavy guy.
No, he's also like didn't he like lose every I remember his like decision luck in the UFC was absolutely absurd
against Vince Morales.
Yeah, Morales, he robbed him. I think also Albert Morales. It was like a really touch and go.
That was a close one too. Yeah, Vince Morales. It was close. I kind of thought Morales.
No, it wasn't. It was like Morales clear, wasn't it? From memory.
Lopez got the decision. I thought it was close, but I thought like Morales should have won. It was still it was like boxing versus kicking, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, Vince Morales has 100% MMA decisions.
Oh, was he? I mean, yeah, no, I did think he won.
And Albert Morales had 90% MMA decisions the fight before that. Like Lopez just has magical judging powers. Apparently, he's like what's the name of that Mexican dude? He got fucked up a few times when he like ran out of luck. He beat Circumtar. He lost to he was like a top 10 bantamweight for a little bit a couple of years ago. Stamen. Alejandro Perez. Remember how he had that run where he just won four miraculous decisions?
Yeah.
And like he wasn't that good. He just lightning in the bottle for some reason.
Yeah.
Lopez. I feel like Benito Lopez is like another version of that. Well, he's like 28. He's had 3.5 years off, so you never know.
It's like hard to know what he's going to look like.
He's fairly young.
With that type of layup, like Batista's actually pretty good. Like I agree to be the favorite. The
way Batista
better at everything too, and he's at least like his form's proven. But I don't know. I'm not going to touch that fight. Yeah, I don't know. Other than that, I do think the main card is all right. The prelims are kind of, I was going to get your take on this because I haven't really cared about Jailton Jr.'s like first couple fights because he was just fighting like terrible people. But Grisham can anti-wrestle a little bit, so that's kind of interesting, But do you think Junior will just cook him on the mat, Jailton?
Plus 500 is tempting because it's fucking heavyweight. I think Grisham is definitely where I'm starting to move towards, like actually taking the shot. Is the fight still on? I have this weird sense that it's been cancelled.
Oh, did it get cancelled? I might have. Hold on, let me look.
It's on Tapology still, and they're usually pretty decent, so maybe it's not. But like, I'm kind of happy. I wouldn't mind taking the shot. I don't know, because like the issue with a guy like Jalton is he'll look like a minus 10,000 until one day his game just doesn't work, and then he'll look like a plus 10 billion.
It's like fucking Romanov. Like whenever he fought Tabora, I picked Tabora straight. I was like, what the fuck is going on with this? It's like he looks so dominant because his grappling style. It's like he can get quick finishes. Yeah. But Grisham,
If he doesn't,
I just don't know how good this guy is. I don't know, but Grisham is like kind of competent as a grappler. Like he can anti-wrestle a little bit. I don't know. It's just if this fight gets extended and Grisham's stuffing takedowns early and just like survives, I could see it getting weird.
and also with
I'm not confident Grisham wins at all. I'm not saying that, but minus 700, take Jailton out of your parlays for sure at that price. You know.
Taking one take with Jalvin, it's like at least with Romanov, you knew the wrestler. Yeah, I don't rate him as highly as I do Jalvin as an actual jiu-jitsu guy, but as a wrestler, I rate Romanov higher. Like, like how good a wrestler is Jalvin really, and how sustainable is it?
Yeah, I just don't know how he's gonna lose as a big favorite, like at some point. You know, like.
That's always the issue because I feel like it's one part of me wants to wait till Tiberius is plus 400 against him, but also I'm like worried aggression or something just clips him, and I'm just like, well, fuck.
or Grisham just stuffs his takedowns and beats him. You know.
Yeah.
I still don't like that. Like William Knight landed 3 takedowns, but like I've seen Grisham and PFL and other fights. He can. I don't know, like Tabora controlled him for 9-10
Yeah,
minutes.
the Tabora fight was not a good look.
Yeah, I know. So Grisham's probably not the guy to do it, but it also is kind of the fight where you need to be a little worried about Jailton at this line.
Yeah, that's always the issue of prospects. Like somebody I was looking at Jack Della Maddalena versus Danny Roberts next week, and Jack's a decent prospect, but I feel like he's one of these guys who has like a 20% chance getting clocked by anybody. So it's just like, do I? Yeah, at a certain point, I want to kind of wait till Della is like evens against somebody who can grapple, who doesn't have cancer like Ameve ended up having.
Yeah.
But like, can you totally pass on Danny Roberts against Jack Della at plus 325? Because it's like, there's that 20% chance that Della just walks into something big and then the hype train's dead.
Or he'll just blow out his knee like everybody lately.
Yeah, true. That's always a thing. Like, that's what I mean. Like, it's kind of like, sometimes it's like, you can't make the perfect enemy of the good because, like, just because you can't get that 1 4-unit spot where you're like, this guy is priced at evens and should be like 20%, it should be like plus 300. But like, you get these prospects coming up through like shit competition who are just like not great prospects and who are just kind of just volatile. So it's like, you don't want to pass every time.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's weird. I'm a little less like willing to go into the wilderness than you as some of these bets, but like Taboro's one I liked, because I felt like we actually had data on both guys, and I'm like, this is a pretty fun close fight, Where this one, Jailton, like I was pretty confident, like there was not a world where Romanov would justify his line. We're like, here it might, but it's also, are you really willing to like take that risk? I don't know.
It's also tricky because also like you do learn things in hindsight where it's like that fighter who looked like a minus 10,000 3 years ago, then they have that one fight where they gas badly and it's like, wait, their last 5 fights where they sub-ones.
I could easily see this fight getting extended and then all of a sudden Jailton looks like shit and he just gets like worked on the feet or something,
Yeah, like even like our good friend Edmund Shabazian.
Oh yeah. You and I were skeptical of him for a long time.
I know, but like him against Marshman. If Marshman had not gotten subbed inside 60 seconds, I think that ends up being a fucking fight. Because like Marshman's not good, but he doesn't go away.
And the thing is, he's just so susceptible to getting mauled on the mat, and like Edmund can do that for like a round, So like it's always going to be a tough early round, but Edmund's just scary because he just gets tired and just can kind of get beat up, there's
a few of them. Even like Romanov. Remember fucking Romanov versus Lema? Romanov closes minus 500 against Lema.
Oh yeah.
How would you price that if it was only on again next week?
Yeah, Lema's weird because he's like really good in certain areas, but he can also just like fall apart. But
that's what we love him for. Like again, like Lema's like arguably got like top 5 heavyweight skill set if he just got matched a little bit more favorably.
Yeah, but
or just got a bit luckier in those fights.
for sure. Is there is that or anything else you want to talk about? Like, I don't know. I'm not. This card's kind of whatever. What do we got coming up? Oh, Adesanya. Damn, Adesanya Pereira's coming up that much. Oh God.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Is Lewis versus Spivak? No, it isn't Lewis versus Spivak. Oh no, sorry, I'm missing.
No, November 4th is Rodriguez Lemos, so that's coming up, and then it's Pereira Adesanya. We'll do another one for that, and we'll talk about the main card again.
I have no strong opinions on that main event.
I don't even know. I don't even know. Like, it's like hard because
there's Esparza versus Jean next week.
Yeah, I'm excited for that one. I know we are Carlos supporters all the time, so I'm excited for that one.
Yep, I never had any doubts in the last Esparza fights.
I mean, she beat Rose just how we marked it up. She was going to outstrike her in a staring contest.
Like, I mean, we clearly got the best price. We clearly got the best side of plus 200 because that was a coin flip, but that was fucking funny.
It was so funny. Well, I still think, like, I mean, Carla's clearly the side because that was like Rose was petrified to even engage because she didn't want to get taken down. Like people are like, oh, the wrestling of Carla didn't play a factor. I'm like, no, it did because that's why Rose was so hesitant. Like, Rose doesn't fight like that against people who aren't a wrestling threat,
Holy shit! I didn't actually realize this. Sergey Spivak is main eventing a UFC card.
Is that him and Lewis?
Yes. Okay, how proud are you of our boy Sergey Spivak?
Oh, he got bet down because that opened even.
Yeah, it did. I was kind of looking at it. I was like,
I have a feeling Lewis is just gonna knock him out. I don't know. I just feel like Spivak's gonna like engage in the grappling, and Lewis is just gonna fucking knee him, or he's just gonna fucking knock him out like on the inside. Because Spivak can be killed. I think people forget that.
Yeah, Lewis will find some stupid strongman sweep or something, and that'll be it.
He's just gonna land something off, like he's gonna get taken down and like beat for a while, and then like the start of round 2, Spivak's gonna come in for a clinch and he's gonna die. It's just gonna be so dumb.
I'm happy for Spivak. I'm hoping he somehow ends up getting a title fight.
Yeah. Oh, damn. Jack Shore, Kyler Phillips is on that card too of Lewis Spivak.
That's a good fight.
That's a great fight.
Keith Lava versus Kennedy Nzechukwu. That's a great fight. Not a very skilled one, but it'll be fucking funny.
Shore Phillips. I got to think about that. That's a good one. Phillips has been impressing me lately.
I just don't like how he falls off after 2. Like, he does very cool stuff for 2 rounds.
He's like a top 5 bantamweight when he's optimal, like not gassed,
Yeah, but he's only got 2 minutes. He's only got 10 minutes. I want Phillips. I think Phillips versus Marlon Vera would be fun.
Oh yeah,
like wouldn't that fight just be really stupid?
I mean, in 3 rounds, Phillips, it would be like a split decision, and it would just be like Phillips winning for a round or 2, and then just like Vera 10-8ing him, and then 5 rounds, Vera would kill him late in the round. Yes. But
that's on that card. That's actually not bad. That's not a bad card, actually.
I know. I'm looking at it now. This is kind of a sick card.
Brundage versus Vieira.
William Knight
wasn't
Christine Prochnow.
Wasn't Vieira evens at one point? I remember seeing like the early. I think it's moved now. Oh, now it's
I guess this card isn't as good as I thought. I just think Shore Philip. Why is that on the prelims?
Because.
All right. Well. All right, I guess we don't got anything else to talk about. The fact that we're talking about hypothetical Vera and Phillips fights, but cool. I'll get this out and we will be back next week. Thanks, Gugabe.
Get back in tempo. All good. Thanks, Tim.
Yep. How you going, man? Bye.